I overheard my fiancée mock me as her sugar daddy, so I used her modeling contacts to build my cousin's career, ended the wedding, and took back my power. I, 29, male, have been dating my fiancée Bella, 25, for almost 1 year now. Bella is an aspiring model and is extremely stunning, so much so that for the first few months, I could barely even believe I was with her. My friends could not believe it either because I am an average-looking guy myself, and even though people do say that looks are not everything, it did feel strange for me to be with this woman who was so conventionally attractive, and I was just a normal-looking guy. I was content with just dating, but then 6 months in, she started dropping hints about wanting to get married. I was smitten with her by then, so at that point, I would have done whatever she asked of me. So I decided against proposing to her 7 months after being together, and she said yes without a second thought. My friends and family were a little taken aback by how soon it was all happening, but as long as I was happy, they were too, and did not question it much. We have been relatively happy in our relationship, and even though we have had our ups and downs, I believe that the love we had for each other was real, and it was for me, at the very least, if not for her. But then, around 3 months ago, she invited her friends over to help with wedding planning. I had been napping in the bedroom because I was feeling really under the weather that day, but after a while, I got up to get myself some food. But then I stopped right outside the kitchen when I heard Bella and her friends talking about me in the living room. I was just out of their sight, and they could not see me, so they continued talking crap about me and laughing at their own mean jokes. They were making fun of all my insecurities, and I could feel myself go red in the face standing there. But it all got worse when Bella herself joined in and made a joke about how she had bagged herself a sugar daddy with no looks and was basically living the dream. There was a lot of laughter at that horribly insensitive joke, and so I went back to my room because I had heard enough. I did not even want to know what else she had to say because my insides were on fire. I wanted to dump her on the spot, but I kept my cool and decided to play the long game instead and use her for my own sake, just like she had been using me. I am a web developer and I earn well enough, so I am the one who is covering all the bills because Bella cannot afford to. She is just starting out as a model, and so she does not get paid enough for her gigs to actually be able to afford the lifestyle she wants. And neither are her parents rich enough to fund it for her, so she relies on me heavily for money. She even moved in with me just 2 months after we started dating because she told me she did not have enough money to cover rent at the time. I told her she could stay with me for a while, but then she never moved out, and ever since then, I have been paying for everything she wants. I am the one who pays for her cab when she has to travel for auditions, for her clothes, accessories, makeup, and whatnot. So she is not entirely wrong. She did bag a sugar daddy. But I am just a couple of years older, so I do not think that is accurate. After I overheard her conversation with her friends, I went back to my room, and I was contemplating breaking up with her over this. But then I decided not to dump her because I had a way better plan in mind. I have a cousin who is also trying to become a model, and I knew for a fact that this cousin of mine, let us call her Irene, 23, female, was loaded. Her father was a huge, successful business tycoon, but unfortunately he did not approve of his daughter's career choices since he believed that it was too risky, and so he was not going to help her out until she bagged some gigs on her own. She had moved here a few months after I met my girlfriend, and I knew that she would appreciate my help. But Bella stopped me from giving her a head start by telling me how competitive the modeling world is, and that Irene could potentially become a threat to her if we helped her with getting contacts. So unfortunately, Irene had to struggle on her own to make a place for herself because while she did have her dad's credit card, she did not have any contacts, and she was really young, so she did not know how to network either. But after what I overheard, I made up my mind to help Irene out, and in exchange for that, she just had to send me half of whatever she made through every gig that she landed through me. From then onwards, I started keeping track of all the auditions that my girlfriend and friends went to, and all the people I met at those auditions, and then proceeded to send those details to Irene. Sometimes she would get the gig and sometimes she would not, but every single time she would send me a whopping $1,500 because she was mad at her dad for not helping her out. It was a bit much, but who was I to complain? If she wanted to teach her dad a lesson and I profited off of her anger, then heck, she could be as angry as she wanted to be. I was cool with this arrangement that we had worked out because I was getting richer with every passing month. Of course, I had to hide all of this from my girlfriend because she would definitely get suspicious if I suddenly started expressing any interest in these things I'd never bothered with earlier. So this went on for a couple of months, and with time, I stopped feeling anything for my girlfriend at all. I still did not dump her because I was using her contacts and stuff to help out Irene, but other than that, I would keep my interactions with her to a minimum. I would be romantic and sweet to her when we were together, so she had no clue what was really happening. I had also told my parents I was not actually going to marry Bella just 1 week after I found her talking crap about me behind my back, so while they did not know the details of my situation, they knew that no wedding was going to take place. But I did not tell Bella that, obviously, and she continued to plan and told me to book the venue and the vendors, which I agreed to but never did. This week, several things happened at once, and she finally found out what I had been up to. The invitations were supposed to be sent out this week, but like I had said, I had not made any arrangements. And in addition to that, my cousin Irene finally got signed to a really reputable modeling agency. She was incredibly grateful to me, and even her dad was, which is why he sent me $5,000 for helping her out all through the way. They are pretty generous, if I am being honest. So a few days back, when Bella asked me if the invitations had been sent or not, I decided to finally come clean to her and end things. I had spent quite a few months putting up this facade, and now that I had made enough money off of her, I did not feel like putting on this show anymore. Irene was where she wanted to be and would not need my help anymore, and I did not have any feelings for Bella either, so there was just no point in staying with my girlfriend any longer. So when she asked about the invitations, I decided to tell her the truth and said that I had not made any arrangements for the wedding at all. In fact, there was no wedding at all. Now, she was obviously stunned by that and asked me if I was joking. So then I finally told her that I had heard her little joke the other day, and I had not forgiven her for it. When she asked me why I had stuck around for so long, I told her about how I used her to push Irene's career ahead, and how she paid me handsomely for all that I had done for her. Now that I was finally telling her the truth, there did not seem any point in hiding anything from her, so I was completely honest with her. She was flabbergasted when she learned what I had been up to these past few months, and her reaction was nothing short of hysterical. She was crying, screaming, and being all melodramatic about how I had betrayed her and used her. I told her that this was all happening because of what she had said to her friends behind my back, and she started talking about how it was just a joke. Well, it was not a very funny one, and it was actually really hurtful and demeaning. We argued over that for a while, but then she just gave up and told me that I had betrayed her in the worst possible way over a joke, and she would never wish this even on her enemies. She had a complete breakdown over it and said that she had actually loved me, but I had not even deemed her worthy of a discussion, and decided to essentially ruin our relationship over a silly joke. I stuck to what I believed in and told her that for me it was not just a joke because it hit a little too close to home. Jokes are meant to be funny, not downright malicious. Which is what her joke sounded like. And it was not just what she had said that hurt, it was the fact that she had been sitting among her equally vapid friends, and they had been making fun of the way I looked, but she did not even try to defend me, and instead joined in on the fun that they were having at my expense. That is what hurt the most. I was the one who was paying for every single thing that she wanted, and making sure she was happy all the time, so I definitely did not deserve this in return. In fact, I had started working even harder to provide for the both of us, so it obviously hurt to hear her make fun of me just because I was not as conventionally attractive as she was. She packed her stuff up right after the argument and was gone within 1 hour. I did not try to stop her either because of how angry and hurt I was, so there was nothing that could have been done to prevent her leaving. The next 2 days I drowned myself in work so that I would not have to feel anything. I mean, I had obviously fallen out of love with her a while back, but I was still used to having her around, and sometimes I would feel like I could fall back in love with her again. But now that it was all over, I did not know what to do with myself or with the empty house that I had come back to. This morning, I received a text from Bella saying that she still did love me and was willing to work things out if I wanted to. Did she miss me terribly and could not imagine a life without me? I have not replied to it yet because I honestly do not know what to say to her. I do not know if I miss her or if I love her or if I want to get back with her or not. I just do not have an answer for anything at this point because my feelings are actually all over the place. I do not know what to say to her. I feel like a total jerk for what I did to her. Maybe she was right. Maybe I overreacted and completely blew things out of proportion. Am I the asshole for using Bella to push Irene's career and get rich myself? Update 1. So I did not reply to Bella's text. I read a lot of the messages and the comments on my post and realized I might have been out of line for what I did, and I was even about to reach out and apologize to Bella for whatever happened. But then I received a text from a friend of hers saying that she had something to tell me. She sent me a screenshot of Bella texting her, saying that she needed a place to crash for a while until her loser boyfriend, referring to me, patched things up with her, or until she found someone new. This friend of hers told me that apparently Bella had sent this to their entire friend group and had claimed that she had left after a fight, but she had not yet told them what the fight was about. Her friend did not feel comfortable with the fact that Bella was still talking badly about me, even though we were supposed to get married in a couple of months, and so she felt like she had to tell me what Bella had been saying behind my back and get it off her conscience. She did not know that I was already well aware of what Bella had been saying about me, but I am thankful that her conscience kicked in at the right time and prevented me from apologizing to Bella and taking her back in. I dodged a bullet there. All the criticism and flack I have received from my decision to stick with Bella just for revenge was perfectly valid. And in fact, that was what made me rethink my stance in this whole situation, and almost made me apologize to her. But unfortunately, we were all being played since Bella really did deserve whatever I did to her. Maybe if it had been a normal and less self-centered human being, then I would have believed that I was in the wrong here. But it is Bella after all. She is literally the epitome of narcissism and selfishness. I cannot believe that she was willing to get back with me just because she needed a place to stay, which is not really surprising because she had become pretty lazy in the past few months. She would only go for auditions and do nothing else around the house. But I was perfectly happy with cleaning up after the both of us, since she was the one helping me bring in the big bucks from Irene. She did not even go shopping, so I was actually saving more than I was spending. When I saw that screenshot, I was so thankful that I had not texted her back yet, and after this, I was not going to get back to her anyway. She was just a despicable person in general, and even though what I did to her was nothing short of psychotic, I would say she totally deserved that. I have blocked her on every platform possible, and I'm even thinking about moving out into a bigger apartment, so I do not have to deal with her anymore. I already made a lot of money thanks to Irene and her dad, and I am due for a raise at work in a couple of weeks anyway, so I might as well get a head start on the move and start looking for places. My friends were pretty surprised when I broke the news to them that the wedding was off since they had no idea, but when I filled them in on the details, they were kind of shocked that I had even pulled off something like this at all. Some of them believe that she deserved it, while the rest think that I took things way too far and I should have just ended the relationship the day I heard her joking. I bet everyone will agree that she deserved what I did when they heard about her false confession of love, just so that she could continue to live with me without paying rent or making any contribution to the household expenses. Even if she does manage to find a guy who is willing to let her move in after a few months of dating, I do not think that there will be a guy as stupid and smitten as I was and let her live off of their money. But who knows? Maybe she might. It does not really matter to me anymore, and I am just relieved that she is gone now and I will not have to deal with her in the foreseeable future. Thank goodness. Update 2. I was wrong about getting rid of her so soon. I guess she realized that not everyone will be okay with her lifestyle and will not just blindly agree to let her live with them and spend their money. That is unless she actually starts looking for a real sugar daddy, which is another story altogether. She somehow got a hold of me from a different number and started texting me to blackmail me into letting her move back in. Her strategy was definitely very off because she was trying to threaten me by saying that if I did not let her move in until she found a new boyfriend, then she would tell everyone that I had used her for her contacts in the modeling world to help my rich cousin out. I hope she does realize that unless she tells people the full story, they are just going to think that I was being a good relative. And I hope she is not naive enough to believe that she can just talk crap about me to people and I will sit back and let it happen. I told her that if she talks about me, then I will definitely talk about what she did, and it will all be out in the open. She also has a significant following on Instagram, so this will affect her a lot more than it will affect me. She has not replied yet, and I hope she does not, because I am getting really sick of her. Update 3. As if bothering me through text was not bad enough, Bella showed up at my workplace today. The receptionist had to call me to meet her because apparently she refused to leave without seeing me first. I had to take her to a nearby cafe so that I could talk to her without embarrassing myself in front of my coworkers because I could tell that Bella was very close to throwing a temper tantrum when I saw her. And that is exactly what happened once we sat down to talk in the cafe. She started whining about how I had been unfair to her, and that she deserved a second chance, regardless of whatever she had done, just so that she could prove to me that she was capable of being a good girlfriend under the right circumstances. That really caught me off guard, so I asked her what she meant by that statement, because as far as I was concerned, her circumstances could not have been better. She lived a completely stress-free life and paid for nothing, and apparently that is what she meant by circumstances. She told me that I had spoiled her rotten by letting her walk all over me, and if I had stood up to her more often, then she might have been more attracted to me. I was too weak-willed and too average-looking already, and on top of that, I had absolutely no self-esteem, which made it so easy for her to boss me around without feeling guilty, which is why she said what she said. But now that she knew that I'd been secretly playing her for a fool, she was a lot more attracted to me and could finally take me seriously as a potential boyfriend. I am not even making this up right now. I actually thought I was going to laugh out loud right in her face when she was saying those things, because it was just that ridiculous. I do not even know if this was some last-ditch attempt at getting me back, or if she generally meant whatever she was saying, but it was hilarious. There is no doubt about that. The gaslighting and manipulation were so crazy that I ended up telling her that I would think about what she said and talk to her later because I was trying really hard not to laugh. She made me promise her that I would talk to her once I got back home. That is another reason I am glad that we broke up, because she used to baby talk to me every time I was upset with her. I do not know why. I guess she thought infantilizing herself would make her seem more desirable to me or whatever, but it just grossed me out. I was just too nice to say anything to her. I got back home half an hour ago, and it is just insane to me that even after all that has happened, she is still trying to get back with me, just so that she will have a place to live. It is actually kind of pathetic that she is so lazy and so dependent on a man that she cannot even be bothered to have some pride and leave me alone. I am not going to get back in touch with her, and I am going to make sure that the next time she tries to contact me, she knows that she is no longer welcome in my life. Update 4. So it has just been one day since Bella showed up at my workplace, and today she called me from a friend's number again. I answered the call because I wanted to end things once and for all with her. When she asked me if I had given any thought to what she had said, I told her point blank that I had not, and even if I was held at gunpoint and asked to get back with her, I would still say no. I kind of went on a rant and told her every awful thing that I had thought about her, and let her know that she was a pathetic mess, and I was not willing to deal with her anymore. So she should probably start looking for somebody else to leech off of. She argued with me, saying that the reason I had a crap load of money right now is because I had used her and her contacts to suck up to my rich cousin, so I should be the last person to talk about leeching off people. Our argument kind of escalated after that point, and there was a lot of cursing and shouting, but after a while I realized that there is just no point in arguing with a deranged idiot like her. I do not even know how I fell for her in the first place, but I guess she was pretty and charming enough to make it work. I just told her that I was not going to entertain her bullcrap anymore, and if she tried to contact me again, then I would post what she had done on Instagram, and that would be the end of whatever little fame she had earned for herself. So she realized that it was probably not a good idea to keep arguing with someone who could expose you and ruin your reputation within seconds if he wanted to, and she hung up after calling me a bunch of names and cuss words. But I do not even mind that anymore. It is a small price to pay to get rid of her for good. I am just not going to date anyone for a while and go to therapy so that I can work out whatever esteem issues I have, because I most certainly do have some. Or else I would not have acted equally crazy. Looking back on this entire saga, I'm still trying to untangle the knot of emotions that's been twisting inside me for months. What started as pure, blinding heartbreak has morphed into something far more complicated. Relief, vindication, lingering anger, and, if I'm brutally honest, a deep sense of shame about parts of my own behavior. When I first overheard Bella laughing with her friends, calling me her sugar daddy with no looks, it felt like someone had punched a hole straight through my chest. I stood frozen outside the kitchen, face burning, every insecurity I'd ever buried rushing to the surface. Up until that moment, I'd been walking around in a daze of gratitude, just grateful that someone as breathtaking as her had chosen me, an utterly average guy. I told myself looks didn't matter that much, that what we had was real. Hearing her reduce our relationship to a transaction, and worse, hearing her join in as her friends mocked my appearance, shattered that illusion in an instant. It wasn't just the words, it was the casual cruelty, the way she didn't even pause to defend me. In that moment, the love I felt curdled into something dark and bitter. I wish I could say I handled the betrayal with maturity, ended things cleanly, and walked away with my dignity intact. But the truth is, the pain was too raw, too humiliating. Instead of confronting her immediately, I chose revenge. I turned cold, calculated, and used the one thing she valued most, her modeling network, to quietly build my cousin Irene's career behind her back. Every audition tip I passed along, every contact I forwarded, felt like a small act of justice at the time. And when Irene gratefully sent me $1,500 for each gig she landed, it felt like the universe was finally balancing the scales. I was taking back the power she'd stripped from me, turning her own resources against her. It was intoxicating in a way I'm not proud of. For months, I lived a double life, sweet and attentive in front of Bella, emotionally detached everywhere else. I watched her plan our wedding with growing excitement while I secretly canceled every booking. I told myself I was protecting myself, that she deserved to be played the way she'd played me. But deep down, I knew I was becoming someone I didn't particularly like, someone capable of prolonged deception, someone who could look his fiancée in the eye and lie effortlessly. The money piling up in my account was supposed to feel like victory, but more often it felt like blood money. I was profiting off someone else's dream while simultaneously destroying the person I'd once planned to marry. That realization sat heavy in my stomach, even as I justified it to myself night after night. When I finally ended things and told her the truth, her reaction, tears, screaming, accusations of betrayal, almost broke me all over again. For a fleeting moment watching her fall apart, I wondered if I'd gone too far. Maybe it really had just been a stupid joke. Maybe I'd punished her disproportionately for a moment of cruelty. I spent days questioning everything, drowning in work to avoid feeling the emptiness of the house without her. Then came her text saying she still loved me and wanted to work things out, and I nearly caved. I nearly apologized, nearly invited her back, because a part of me missed the comfort of having someone, even someone who had wounded me so deeply. Thank God for that screenshot from her friend. Seeing her refer to me as her loser boyfriend while angling for a place to crash until she found someone new. It snapped everything back into focus. The love she claimed to feel wasn't love at all, it was convenience, dependency, entitlement. All the guilt I'd been carrying about my revenge evaporated in an instant. I hadn't overreacted, I'd simply refused to remain a doormat. Yes, my method was extreme, maybe even cruel, but it was a direct response to someone who had never truly valued me as a person, only what I could provide. Still, I can't pretend I emerged from this unscathed or morally spotless. The fact that I was able to sustain such elaborate deception for months reveals something ugly about how deeply her words had wounded me. My self-esteem was so fragile that one cruel joke sent me spiraling into a revenge plot worthy of a soap opera. I let her mockery define my worth for far too long, and then I let my hurt dictate actions that lowered me to her level. That's the part I'm most ashamed of, not the money I made or even helping Irene, but the coldness I allowed to settle in my heart. I became someone who could watch the person he once loved plan a future that would never happen and feel nothing. That's not strength. That's emotional shutdown. Now, with Bella finally gone for good, blocked, warned off, and hopefully out of my life forever, I'm left in the quiet aftermath. The house feels too big, too silent. Some nights I catch myself missing the routine of her presence, the way she'd curl up next to me on the couch even when I knew it was partly performative. I miss the version of us that existed before I heard those words in the kitchen, the version where I still believed I was enough for her exactly as I was. Grief, it turns out, isn't just for lost love. It's also for the illusion of love you thought you had. But beneath the sadness is a growing sense of liberation. I dodged a lifetime of being used, of pouring everything into someone who saw me as a means to an end. I reclaimed my power, even if the process was messy and imperfect. The money from Irene is nice, more than nice, but the real win is knowing I finally stood up for myself. I refused to remain the weak-willed guy Bella described. And for the first time in a long while, I'm starting to believe that I deserve someone who chooses me not despite my average looks or steady paycheck, but because of who I am when no one's watching. I'm heading to therapy soon. I need to unpack why I tolerated so much for so long, why her validation mattered more than my own, and why my response to hurt was to mirror the very manipulation I despised in her. I want to come out the other side healthier, kinder, to myself and to whoever I date next. Because the truth is, neither of us was our best self in this relationship. We brought out the worst in each other, her entitlement, my resentment. It's time to break that cycle. So no, I don't regret ending it. I don't even regret the revenge. As twisted as that was, it woke me up. But I do regret the parts of myself I lost along the way. Moving forward, I'm determined to find them again.